Hello, beautiful souls. It's your girl, Moni, your free spirit accelerator. And I have started my yoga teacher training. And oh my gosh, I'm on chapter 1. It is intense. I can't even tell you how many pages chapter 1 is, but it seems like it's never going to end. But I'm doing this. And I told you guys I have to check in with you, because if I don't, I'm not going to do it. So thank you. You're holding me accountable. You're making me do what I say I'm going to do. And you're like my wind underneath my wings. So thank you. So anyways, I started my first chapter and they wanted me to do a recap on what or how yoga practices and the yoga has evolved from the very beginning. So this is good for me because I need to know this stuff, right? I need to be able to recite like what yoga is and where it came from and like how it got to its point to today. So to start off, yoga is like a 5,000-year-old like practice. This thing's been around forever. Like, I think that's just amazing that this is 5,000 years old. And the word yoga means union. So it's, to start off, it's all about the union of the mind, body, and soul. Like, yug is union. So like to bring something together. And the really cool thing about yoga is that it started in India, and this has been carried on for 5,000 years. Like, it's beautiful that they've kept this tradition, they've kept this practice, they've kept like learning more, adding more, teaching it. Stories have been passed down. Like, they've kept it thriving, for 5,000 years. Like, that's amazing. So it's I'm trying to find like good light, but oh well. It's really interesting. So yoga means union, and the union is between your higher self and your physical self. And this came from yoga, I want to say like gurus and yogis who have passed this down for years. So from my studies, I've learned that there's fossils and there's drawings and there's all sorts of just history that proves that this has been around forever. And it's been passed down all the way to the Western society, but it's been touched by so many amazing people that we can't even like name everybody that has made yoga what it is today. But there are some highlights about it that makes it a very special practice that a lot of people probably know, but you don't know. So there's like different periods that yoga went through. I think like everything has like, it's pre-classical, it's classical, it's after classical moments, like post-classical moments. But with yoga, it's just traveled through so many different avenues to how it's come to today is pretty amazing. So from what I know, it's that there was the Brahmin time, and this is when the Upanishads was a lesson that people were learning. So even before the Upanishads, there was yoga being taught, but it was being taught where it was just like, understanding your mind and being able to still the mind and being able to hold focus and being able to connect to your higher self, to becoming godly. And that translated into the Upanishads, which was about a Brahmin state. And Brahmin is where men would find a guru, somebody that, already had studied yoga and knew like how to calm their mind and how to see a higher self and how to live like godly. So they would go into the forest, they would go into the mountains, they would go on these wild like then not called retreats, but you know, today it would be a retreat, that they would go and stay with their guru and learn these lessons where they would go get water, rocks, firewood, whatever the guru wanted them to do. And then in return, they would learn how to live as a true Brahmin, which is getting to your highest point of consciousness and being as godly as possible. So that is probably the most significant thing that I can, the most significant time of yoga that I can recall from my first chapter of studies. And then after that was the Upanishads, which means like coming to the end, is when they started talking more about connecting your higher self with your physical self and learning how to tap into that with not really like yoga, but just being more transcendental, like transcendental, and being able to understand yourself more. So then after that, we go into another period, and it's, you know, people doing postures and living like, you know, a very clean life and following the rules of yoga. But with all the people that were involved in yoga, the one person that stands out to me, because this is who they talk about the most, is Patanjali. And Patanjali is a big deal because he like took yoga and revolutionized it. He's part of the reason why we are seeing asanas, which are poses that you do. But back then, it wasn't the poses that we're doing today in Western society. Back then, it was poses that you would hold to become your higher self, samadhi, to where you would accomplish mushka, which is basically being like super blissed out. Just being like on top of the world, not worried about anything, just super blissed out, super happy. And that was the point of Patanjali's teachings. And he did such an amazing job at bringing all of this stuff that people were talking about. And a lot of the previous gurus and the previous instructors and teachers would make it so complicated. They're writing these 2,000 page books, like amazing stuff, like super enriching and, you know, mind bending, but it was just so intense that it like never ended. But Patanjali took it and condensed it down to like one page. You know, he like revolutionized it. He made it easy for people to digest. He made it easy for people to want to learn more and really like learn what it is. So he took it all in and put everything onto one page, and it's called the 8 limbs of yoga, or 8 branches of yoga. The yogic 8 limbs. There's all sorts of ways you can say it, like with everything in yoga. There's so many ways you can say things, and it's really cool. So anyways, he like basically brought it down and got it onto one page. And it's really kind of like his way of showing the circle of life, which is how I think of it. Because you start with, you know, the yamas and the niyamas, and then you talk about breath. I can't say the word breath yet. I think it's pranayama. And then you talk about a way of focus and a way of, you know, leaving yourself behind. And then you talk about concentration, dreaming, and then you talk about meditating, and then it talks about, you know, getting to the highest state, which is samadhi, or moksha, which is the highest level, and that's when you get blissed out. But the thing that Patanjali, this is what I'm taking from it, I could be wrong, but the thing that I've taken from Patanjali is that like you can't stay blissed out forever. Like you can't stay at samadhi forever. Like you have to come out of it, because we don't function in that state because you're doing absolutely nothing, right? And you need your ego to thrive and to make something happen. And then you go through the 8 limbs again. So you go through not the yamas, the niyamas, the breathing, the focus, the, letting yourself go, forgetting about yourself and giving to others. And then, the concentration, the meditation, and then you're back. Right? So it's really cool how he was able to take all the lessons from all the years and he just made like a nice circle of life for it. And he also had, and the asanas, which are the poses. So he also was the first to bring in like a little bit more focus on the asanas, which are the poses, and you would use your poses in order to like really get into your meditative state. And with time, the Westerners saw that the poses are really good, the meditation is okay, but the poses and the actual like physical activity of it was probably more of what people were interested in. So then that's when, it made another change, and we got now, all these different types of yoga. The vinyasa yoga, the hatha yoga, which is actually one of the ancient yogas, but vinyasa is kind of a newer one. And then, Bikram yoga, the hot yoga, that's a newer one. But an older one would be like bhakti yoga, hatha yoga, jnana yoga, and there's a few others. Those are like the top 3 that I can remember. But those types of yogas were more focused on the heart and the way you lived in the world, and also the way you used wisdom, like how you found wisdom or what wisdom you had. And those were basically, you would sit in an asana and you would just, you would meditate, or you would chant, or you would sing. You would do things that, while you were in the asana, to tap into your higher self and let your mind be calmed and relaxed. And you are not living in a state of, you're not living in a state of like panic and stress. You're living in a state to where you're calm and you're happy and you're okay. So it's really interesting. So yeah, that's the evolution that I know so far. Like I said, I'm just on chapter 1. I have been studying this for a long time, so it's really cool now that I'm really pushing myself to that next level, because a lot of stuff that I'm reading, I'm like, oh, I remember that. Yes. It's all coming back to me. But it's cool, like now they're challenging me and asking me to, think about the evolution of it, think about how it started, think about all these different types of yoga and all the Sanskrit and the words that go into it too. So it's really, I'm loving it. Fun, challenging, exciting, all of those things. So I'm really looking forward to completing this first chapter and taking like, a little mini test, and then possibly doing the same thing for chapter 2. And I think, God, I didn't even look how many chapters it is, but it's a 400 page book. So I'm going to be reading for a while, but it's okay, because, it's what I want. But anywho, like I said, I don't want to take up too much time, just giving you a quick update on my studies, on what I am gaining from this, and, the history of yoga and where it's come to today. So I hope that made sense. I know it was kind of like everywhere. I'm trying my best to like put it in order and really say what it is, and not, be fluffing it and making shit up, because somebody will definitely call me out and be like, no girl, Wikipedia says this. So, but that's my short answer to it. I'm going to do more studying, and then hopefully, by the time I'm done with all my studies, I can give a very like nice, clear, concise answer to how yoga has evolved from 5,000 years ago to today. But I took my first stab at it, and I hope that you walked away with a little something. If not, then, you know, I did my best, and I'm going to keep on going because, like I said, you guys are keeping me honest, you're keeping me focused, and you're keeping me accountable to making this dream come true. So I love you so much, and I thank you for your support. And soon we'll be doing some poses together. All right, have a great rest of the day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.